All right. Hey, welcome back, fellow TFFL owners, to your weekly TFFL webcast, now pretty regularly on Thursday night. It's a crazy week. It's Thursday, November 5th, 2020. Big things happening this week, lots to talk about. And we're going to talk about nothing but fantasy football this week, or this next 45 minutes or so. So enjoy it. We're looking back at week 8 TFFL action. We're looking ahead to week 9, as is now always the case with our Thursday webcasts. Week 9 has now kicked off. Thursday action underway. We have the Sponge Fishermen and the Aliens going head to head here with points on the board already for the Sponge. Let me do our panel intros and we'll get going. Our commissioner, Lizard King, King and ruler of the Lizards, right?
That's right. You got it, brother.
All right. Welcome, Rich.
Good to be here.
I keep thinking IBM's got to be able to help these polling companies figure out the data a lot better.
They pioneered the whole census bit, and all the card readers. I'm sure we could if they'd allow us.
All right, moving on. Our former commissioner, skipper of the Sponge Fishermen, Chief.
Hi there. We're all former commissioners here.
It's getting to be that way. That's true tonight for sure. I don't know a scenario. I don't know who our guests would be who haven't been commissioners.
Didn't we figure that Richie was last? I thought we had figured that out.
I think Thornburg is the only majority owner who hasn't been commissioner.
Thornburg?
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah. We're going to have to talk about that.
All right.
And he doesn't want it.
Our IT director, Czar and CEO of the K-Wheels, Hank.
Good day. How are we, everyone? Yeah, good. I'm not very well rested. Been pacing a lot, and I'm home alone with Luke, just me and him here this week. So, I have my nights largely to myself, which is nice. But yeah, I hope for the world that things are about to get really good in the next couple of weeks here. So let's see.
I think collectively we are a well-medicated, low-sleep panel right now. This could be an interesting discussion tonight.
I'm well-medicated.
And hey, our special guest from the Boba Fatts. What's your title up there, Rob?
Journeyman Protector. Don't you guys watch The Mandalorian?
Yes, I haven't. I'm not on the new season yet. Have you watched it?
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
Yep.
I want I can watch it all at once.
Yeah, I'm kind of waiting.
First episode of season 2 is good too. You get on it.
Yeah, we can take that offline, Fats. Awesome.
Yes.
All right. Well, welcome, Rob. Your first webcast of the season.
Yes,
So I usually shout out a bunch of headlines, and I do have a bunch of headlines, but we're going to save those for our roundtable chat. Like I said, a lot to talk about, some of which will just be small headlines we can banter about. But let's start with a trivia question. I did not have one last week, so I've come back with what I think is a really good one this week.
Wow.
And maybe a little challenging. So I've updated this. This question is updated through 2019, the end of the 2019 season. Which TFFL franchise has the fewest lifetime division titles?
Fewest?
Simple question.
It's not more than one?
There is one franchise that stands alone at the bottom of the list of teams with the most division titles.
Oh, most. I thought you said least.
I'm looking. I maybe misphrased that state. I'm looking for the team that stands alone at the bottom of the list of the standings of division titles.
Fewest lifetime titles.
Thank you.
Yes.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
For Ryder, that was kind of funky.
Maybe. Like I said. Commissioner.
Yeah.
Rich, I got one question that I know will start to come up. You may have some other reminders and such for us, but trade deadline. We're now week 9. Trades have been happening already, but we got to start thinking about a trade deadline, I think, in 2-3 weeks, right?
Yeah, isn't it week 11, after week 11? No,
I always stumble on this. I
do too. I happen to think it's week 11.
It's the weekend after Halloween, isn't it?
That's this weekend.
That's this weekend.
I mean, Thanksgiving, excuse me.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking it's like right around Thanksgiving usually. I think that's week 11.
All right, we'll get an answer.
Maybe 12. I think it's 11 though, because we're at 9 right now. 10, 11. Yeah, it's 11. I'm pretty sure.
That's as soon as
Rules Chairman. Can I get a text on that, Rules Chairman? Please send it to me. Thank you.
There we go. All right, what else do you have for us, Rich?
Nothing.
All right.
We got no COVID cases. That's good.
Yep.
And very light on the waiver wire this week. I apologize again for getting out late. Crazy couple weeks for me, but everything's caught up. Com.com is up to date. The Essential Doc is up to date. Please check. Make sure all trades are accounted for. Make sure all FAs and priority picks are properly accounted for as well. And other than that, I don't have much to report. I'm glad that the season continues without too much COVID issue at the moment, which is actually, I got to say, I'm really surprised where we're at.
Is that correct?
What's that?
Is Matt Stafford cleared, or is he actually an active COVID case still?
He is in the close contact category. He has not tested positive. He has tested negative for the past 2 days. So the expectation is he will be cleared to play Sunday. The question is, do the Lions want to play him without practicing? I assume yes.
Yeah.
The answer to that.
Yeah, he's a veteran. He can jump in there.
What do you got to do? Throw in? Yeah, I don't even remember the backup is there anymore.
So he's better than any other option they'd have if he's
Chase Daniel is the backup.
Yeah.
I was going to say Nick Mullins, but I'm watching him right now, so I don't know. But yeah. So assuming he doesn't suddenly test positive between now and then, he'll be playing.
And if anything happens, a reminder, send me Saturday morning or Sunday morning, sorry, by 11:45. All COVID picks should be in. FAPP at TFFL at Gmail. You know what?
All right. Hey, Hank, looking back at week 8, we now have some clarity on a lot of division races.
Yep.
Why don't you show us your version of the standings?
Well, I haven't really begun to break down division races yet. I'm still doing standings.
Okay.
I'm going to give myself a little presentation room here. All right. Senators atop the league, 7-1, followed by the AMPAC leading the North at 6-2. And Senators now have the inside track to the Marley Trophy. Hams and Aliens following it right back up. Look at the Hams and the Aliens, two teams that have been rising up here. The Devils, the Sponge, and the Mongols, all even. Look at the Mongols there. Lizards, Fats, Killers, not real happy probably, but, still competitive. And then we got me and Thornburg, and it is definitely going to be Thornburg's week to light it up because everybody lights it up against the K-Wheels. You'll notice Aaron Rodgers already has 3 touchdowns on the board, and the defense has got 7 still. So, he'll take care of business, I'm sure.
So let's jump right into a couple things off of the standings, and I don't mean to make this hard on you, Hank, but you're right there on the edge. I know you were probably disappointed to lose last week, obviously. But you still have a chance to run the table. Now that you see 20 from Aaron Rodgers on the board, how close are you to actively selling off some assets?
Look, I'm not going to sit here and respond to emails when somebody says, what do you want for Derrick Henry? What do you want for whoever? Look, I'm probably not trading Derrick Henry. So unless you come and say, I'll give you my next 2 years, number 1, plus the best running back I have on my team, which probably is not going to happen from anybody, you're not going to get him. So don't bother. I would probably trade a guy like Robert Woods or maybe Devin Singletary or, Mike Williams, Brandon Cooks, guys like that, yes, I'm happy to move guys. But if you want one of my really good guys, don't ask me what it will take. Come to me with something overwhelming. Otherwise, it's probably not going to happen. So that's where I'm at. And I'm angry about it. I'm not happy with anything that's happened. I am like a fourth highest scoring team in the league. And every week, whoever I'm playing puts up their number for the week, whatever it is. You watch, the Beavers are going to have a huge week this week.
And they get CMC back probably, don't they?
I bet Thornburg $10 on the outcome of this game. So $10 to the winner. And figuring the loser will be getting Travis Etienne in the draft in a few weeks, or in whatever, few months. So everybody's a winner.
And I wasn't quite prepared to say this coming into this week, but this is now shaping up, to be a battle for the number 1 overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
You lose this game, you get a tiebreaker in a good way in that battle for the number 1 overall pick.
But I ask anybody, go look at my lineup, and if you could quibble with Brendan Cooks, but I think anybody has got a third receiver that may be able to be quibbled with. I have a really pretty good lineup. I mean, I have a good team. I've had a good team. I lost 2 of my keepers in weeks 1 and 2.
No, you've got a very strong team. You and in fairness, another guy on this Chief.
He fucking ran out of bounds, you dickhead.
Another touchdown for Rodgers?
No, Devontae Adams had it, and he ran out of bounds like the 4. It's like
why'd you do that?
5-yard line was the end zone or something.
Don't worry. Rodgers will throw it in a minute here.
The Sponge have been getting lit up too lately. It seems like the Sponge.
My God. Don't even tell me.
Yeah. I noticed that the Sponge are with me.
Yeah.
The last 3 weeks, I have given up 112, 96, and 103 points.
Yep. Playing
the NoCo East. Hormel Hams has gone 3-0 against the NoCo East. And if we give me his schedule and him mine, I'm 5 or 7-1, and he's 1-7 right now. And it's just the vagaries of fantasy football we play.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a game of inches, John. A game of inches.
On the flip side, and I feel only a tiny bit guilty about this, but the Aliens are the lowest scoring team in the league. They're 5-3.
The leaders of our division.
So let me ask real quick while we have the chance with both of my division rivals here. Give us an honest assessment. You're 2 games back. In the Boba Fett's case, 2 games and a tiebreaker back. But you look at the Aliens, and I have to wonder, do you guys, Rich, even as injury riddled as you've been, do you look at this and say, I can catch this team?
Go ahead, Pat. Rob?
Yeah. I think either one of them could.
You're talking to me? I thought you were talking to Rich.
I'm talking to
He's talking to both of us.
Oh.
Do
I think I can catch you? Was that the question?
Yeah. Do you look at the Aliens and go, yeah, I can catch this team? 2 games and a tiebreaker back. I don't care. I can catch this team.
Yeah, the Aliens don't scare me at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's about scare. It's about, can you make it up? And for me, I think it's harder than for Fats. I think Fats has an absolute opportunity to take our division and run with it. You look at the type of points he's put up all year. You look at the team he has. He could field a solid team that's going to put up consistently decent points that, it's just, John was just pointing out, the game of inches, on the other hand, you and Aliens and Hank are like 2 complete opposites relative to schedule and points, right? So
my problem is that I'm not been putting up consistent points with my guys. Like 1 week I'll put up 110 and then I'll go for like a 42, like losing against the Mongols was a must win last week for me. And I just like put up a huge dud, right? Like Tyler Lockett, it's just
not there.
The schedule's killing me too, right? Not as much as some people, but schedule and injuries are getting me on weeks that I can't afford to do it against the Aliens and against the Lizards and against the Mongols.
But that's why I think you could catch him, because I think your team can you have a team that can put up those kind of points more consistently. On the other hand, I can't start a team of but one, starter.
Sure.
Other than that, if I got my team back, if they were coming back healthy right now, I would feel like I can compete with Kramer this week and do it admirably. But I'm likely not going to compete very well unless we have some miracles. I was hoping Michael Thomas would be back. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah,
if I can get one more guy, then maybe. But I think if Fats has a better opportunity than me to catch you, Stick.
What may help me is I have a lot of my guys coming back from injury now. Rager, Goddard, Mostert, if it comes down to it, I think he's eligible in like 2-3 weeks. Who knows what he's going to be like when he gets back, but we'll see.
Still got 5 weeks to go.
Yep.
The Amsterdam Packers, another team with a big division lead, much more deserving of it than the Aliens. Over 100 points again last week. Now 6-2. 4 times in 8 weeks they have been the highest scoring team in the league. We should probably be talking a little bit more about the Amsterdam Packers. They have been a very strong team all year long.
Hank shaking his head because Aaron Rodgers just put up another touchdown.
Screw them. Everything about the Amsterdam Packers can suck it. Screw them.
Well, and
screw Aaron Rodgers, by the way, just threw his 4th touchdown.
That's what I was saying.
Jesus Christ.
That was an entire Devontae Adams drive except for the touchdown.
Except for the touchdown. I did see that.
That's because Aaron Rodgers needed to take it. That's what he does.
Was it a QB sneak?
No.
I'm not watching the game.
No,
it was Valdez Scantling.
Oh, that's his second.
Nice. Of course, I almost dropped that guy this week. He's on my bench on another team, but anyway.
You're still getting plenty of points, Chief. Yeah, but yeah, another touchdown would be deadly.
So the Amsterdam Packers. What about them?
Thank you, the AMPAC. But we don't want to talk about the AMPAC, and so more deservedly, we'll talk about the Senators, who are by record a better team, 7-1, 7-game winning streak now for the Senators, and they did it this past week without Kyler Murray. Am I correct in that, or is it this week they don't have Kyler Murray?
That was last week, I think.
Yeah. So good for the Senators. 7-game winning streak now for them. And interestingly, in that same division, in Chiefs division, the Hormel Hams now on a 5-game winning streak, coming back from the dead. So the defending champion Sponge, if I've got this right, find themselves in last place in their division, 4-4. Still within striking distance, doing just fine, but suddenly both the Hams and the Senators ahead of them. Lizards, no real new injuries, but maybe a little insult added to injuries. Some lineup decisions costing you last week. Nothing I think I would necessarily quibble over, but yeah.
No, it just bugs you.
Yeah.
They weren't bad decisions per se because
right.
I really didn't have many good ones, but just leaving Blankenship in for Zerline, that one change wins the game for me. Is what it is.
Yeah.
Not something you're going to kick yourself over, but it's something you wish you'd maybe not switched.
Yep. Every game is an important game, and every point sometimes an important point. Injuries cropping up in Week 8. So just a few of them of note. George Kittle, basically out for the fantasy season for the Dirt Devils. Kenny Galladay, I think, out for several weeks, several more weeks now for the Beavers, for what that is worth. And I never thought this would be worthy of a headline, but Myles Gaskin out for several weeks as a starting running back for the Hormel Hams. The Hams again, in the playoff hunt, using Myles Gaskin as a regular starter, but not for the next several weeks. Jordan Howard still a Lizard, right? What happened?
No, he's a Beaver. Is he starting for the Beavers this week?
No.
He was. Was he out last week?
He hasn't. He has been a healthy scratch for like 4 weeks in a row.
He's got Michael Pirine in there along with McCaffrey because I guess McCaffrey's going to play. I guess
that's what I hear.
Yep.
It's the Matt Breida show in Miami.
He's going to have McCaffrey, and he's starting Antonio Brown.
Yep.
He's trying to lose, but he put Rodgers in his defense right now have 34 points up on the board right now.
I don't
You
think
watch
he's
Antonio
trying to
Brown's
lose.
gonna have like 3 touchdowns this week.
Yeah, they will. Don't worry. It's against the K-Wheels. Everybody lights up the K-Wheel. Everybody.
Passing touchdown.
We had a trade this week. It involved the aliens, so I don't want to linger on it too long. But I know Phil, you had some thoughts on it. Tua going to the Beavers. Matt Ryan coming back to the Aliens. Matt Ryan immediately in the starting lineup this week for the Aliens.
I think it was a great trade for you.
Yeah.
I think that was really smart. I think that you swapped a prospect who could be great in future years, maybe, for something that you could use right now to help you bolster your team that could keep you in the lead of the division. That's great.
You traded for a first rounder. It's not too bad.
That was my comment, is that Thornburg just traded away his first round draft pick. That just etches it in stone, one of the worst first round picks ever in the league.
Well, he turned it into Tua now, so we'll see what happens. I don't know if he'll keep him or not, but who knows?
So he took Tua at number 11. Was that a stick where you took him in the 5th round?
Later than that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a 10th round, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say like late.
All right. Speaking of draft picks, one big draft day decision we have not revisited yet, but I'll do it now. Berto might want to weigh in on this, but he's way too drunk to do it tonight. In the first round, we talked about this as a big pivot point in the first round. At I think number 4 overall, the Dirt Devils had one of the big decisions of the first round. Do they take DeAndre Swift or do they take Cam Akers?
Mm-hmm.
And we know they took Cam Akers. I think that, and these things can change from week to week, obviously. But I think at this point, you guys tell me what you think of that decision.
I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. DeAndre Swift is a way better player. Was then, still is. That's all I got.
I don't have a lot.
No.
I thought it was a good pick. I probably would have done the same.
Yeah, you liked Cam.
And like you were saying, that the book's not written yet. DeAndre Swift looked like a bad pick, at number 5 for most of the season. And you could say, well, why, James Robinson would have been a much better pick there, or Zach Moss would have been a better pick there. He's come around the last couple of weeks. I don't know if it continues or not. He looked terrible last week. 2 weeks before that, he did well. I think Cam Akers will be fine. He's been a little banged up, and the lack of preseason certainly didn't help him. I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, too early to tell. No real judgment to make. I can't say one is better than the other right now. I mean, to this point, sure, Swift has been better, and maybe he's the better player. But I've seen lots of better players not do well just based on the situation that they're in. So we'll time will tell here. I think it's too early to pass a judgment on whether that jockeying of that pick was valuable or not.
Understand that I'm mostly just pissed off that Berto got him.
Rob, anything?
I don't know. I liked Swift. He's got the pedigree, right? I mean, he was pretty much the best player in college football, right? Best running back, at least.
Yep.
That alone, I think maybe, it's halfway through the season, weird season, training camp, right? Jury's still out, I think, but I like Swift maybe marginally better at this point. So
yeah, we'll see. Again, this can change obviously week to week. Injuries can change things in a hurry. I guess I find it a little interesting. Nick, obviously not known for over preparing, somehow did not go, chalk in the sense that and then he is somebody who watches a lot of college football, would have been very familiar with DeAndre Swift, easily could have just taken Swift, and a little bit against the grain with the Akers pick.
I think you also have to look at the Rams offense versus the Lions offense.
We talked, yep.
And I think when you do that projection, I think Swift's, if you perceive Swift as having the better natural running ability, or the better pedigree, the better statistics, whatever, the better production, I think a lot of that goes away if you get a guy who's potentially a starter in McVay's offense versus 30 years of suck in Detroit.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I mean, Rams score points.
Yep. Well, the issue with the Rams is that Darrell Henderson has looked really good this year, and just like Singletary and Moss in Buffalo, Henderson and Akers could limit each other in some sense, or sort of help each other be strong number 2 fantasy running backs, respectively, but limit each other from being a stud.
Listen, that's the draft day decision we should be talking about. And I was a big Darrell Henderson fan coming out, but last year, the Amsterdam Packers, I think, had number 5 pick, and decided to take Justice Hill.
Yep.
Over Darrell Henderson, right? The first row went chalk.
I don't think
Hank Singletary at 4. Darrell Henderson was sitting at 5. Ralph kind of went off the board with Justice Hill.
Yep.
I think that is a big mistake we're seeing right now. Not that Henderson would necessarily be having a big role on the impact right now. I don't know. The impact's pretty loaded at running back. But I can foresee, or I could see a scenario where, Henderson would allow Ralph to trade a guy like Fournette or trade a guy like Elliott and just get a monster package in return for a guy whose value might be on the way down.
Well, and ironically, the reason Ralph made that Justice Hill pick is that he had Mark Ingram. I'm sure the rationale was he saw Ingram getting older. He saw Baltimore developing a run-first offense. Let me get Justice Hill as the guy who I'm going to be able to keep heading into 2020. And instead, this year it's J.K. Dobbins. If Ralph had played this 1 year later somehow, that would have made a lot more sense. But he was a year too early. We could do a whole probably a whole webcast on terrible AMPAC first-round picks over the last decade. Maybe that'll be a fun segment at some point coming up.
I know. I enjoyed reading. Was it Percy Harvin? Was it one of the topics of the mocks that we got this week? That was good.
Nice. Yeah.
Hey, but to Ralph's credit, he also has Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott, and he got the best of the Fournette years.
Mm-hmm.
No, not bad.
Yeah, and Ingram turned out to be pretty darn good for him too.
Yep.
Right. I actually go one further, and McKinnon has had his sparks.
Like I said, screw the AMPAC. I have nothing good to say about the AMPAC.
All right, so I've got
Adams just got tackled yet again at the 1 yard line.
God bless. How many yards does he have though now? He's got to be 200 yards.
It's more like the 3.
My fear is he's got 139. My fear is they're going to pull Aaron Jones out of the game now, though.
Yeah, they should.
Favre is Favre. Rodgers is going to throw this.
He always does. He wants the fantasy points.
100%.
Nope, they handed it off.
I told Thornburg earlier this week, I'm like,
he didn't get in though.
He's going to light it up. You're playing the K-wheels. Everybody lights it up.
Field goal.
Yeah.
All right, I've got.
That wasn't even Adams. It was Irvin.
Yeah.
I've got an interesting new topic for us to discuss. It's kind of a COVID specific topic, but it's nothing really to do with COVID. God bless. And Chief is probably, because Chief has a better memory than any of us, is probably going to tell me I'm way off base in my premise here. But if you look at the NBA these days, shuts a lot of players down, 2/3 of the way through a regular season, when the team is out of contention. And the NBA has guaranteed contracts, so they want to make sure they keep the player healthy for the next season. Again, Chief's probably going to tell me this premise is wrong, but I don't sense that happens nearly as often in the NFL. There's fewer games in the regular season. It's really tough to fall too far out of contention too soon. But here's my question is, I wonder if in 2020, especially with no fans in the seats, and this is kind of a selfish question in some regard, but I wonder if a team like Dallas, which recognizes it's not going anywhere this year, train wreck of a season. Zeke Elliott now has this minor hamstring injury. At what point do you just shut Zeke down and say, why are we putting our star guy out there and letting him get tackled 25 times a game for a lost season? Selfishly, that would benefit a guy like Tony Pollard. Thus the question, but I think that's not a implausible scenario in this weird year where you're not worried about the fans in the seats.
Stick, I'll jump in quick and then I'll jump out. I think that might work if it was a quarterback. I can't imagine paying Zeke Elliott $21 million or whatever not to play. Mm-hmm. And frankly, I think it's become apparent that a lot of his greatness was due to the offensive line in Dallas. Now that they've gone from outstanding to pathetic, there's some middle ground in there. But if you're an owner, I think at the running back position, I don't think you really worry about preserving the guy. I think you run him into the ground and then get a guy out of college to replace him. So, I think you're in the business of winning games, and you play the players that are going to help you win the games. So if they come to the conclusion that Tony Pollard's better for that team, then play him. But Elliott's making an awful lot of money not to play. I don't care if they're 2-12 or whatever. You're paying the guy to play, you should play.
I agree with that premise entirely, that these guys are making so much money on season-to-season deals. They're non-guaranteed contracts. They can cut them anytime they want. The NBA is not an equal comparison because those guys are so much more secure.
Right.
Granted, there's a lot fewer roster spots. But
these guys also have milestones built into their contracts, don't they? So you got to get 1,000. You want to get 1,000 yards, right? You want to hit X number of touchdowns. You want to.
Yep. And that's a good point. There's a lot of times there's incentives in the contract that if those guys don't get to play those last few games and rack up the yards, then they might miss out on $1 million. Plus,
you got to get those. You got to get those 7,500 fans in the stadium too, right?
That's right.
But that's what I'm saying, that you don't, and vice versa, Hank. No, contracts are not guaranteed, except that they're guaranteed, I think, against injury. So if you're Jerry Jones, why put Zeke Elliott out there? He gets injured, and now you got to pay him next year and get nothing out of him. Why not keep him fresh for next year and pay him next year and have him be healthy next year when that's the year when you're going to compete again? I don't know. I wish I could think through. There's probably a few other players around the league in that scenario where you want this guy as a stud next year. This year you're just done.
I think the NFL is such more of a week-to-week, this season focus than not looking at the long term, maybe beyond 2 or 3 years, unless you're talking about a quarterback. Quarterback's a totally different discussion. But any other player, maybe a super great defensive pass rusher, but otherwise everybody else is expendable, and they'll run them into the ground as quickly as possible.
I think some of it I have just one quick one, John. Some of it is the amount of games you play, right? I mean, just talking about the volume of basketball, boom, boom, boom. Every night you're playing. Football's once a week. And I think shutting down one of those players is a little different in terms of what it is on your body daily.
And I think in Elliott's specific case, let's look who the owner is. You think Jerry Jones worries he's going to pay this guy a little bit more money? That he's got to keep him fresh because otherwise he might have to pay him if he gets hurt. And he has a contract guaranteed for injury. He doesn't care. I mean, he's going to be on the salary cap books regardless, which is the number that really matters.
I wouldn't be surprised if they drafted Etienne.
Yeah, they might.
All All right, I got one more topic for us. Back to the TFFL division focus here. We got 3 divisions out there where there's a 2-game gap between the top team and the rest of the division. Aliens with a 2-game lead. Amsterdam Packers, let me make sure I get this right, with a 3-game lead over the Giant Killers, 4-game lead over the K-Wheels. Senators, 2-game lead over the Hormel Hams. And then we come to the SoCo East, and that's the division I want to talk about here. We've covered the Beavers. They are 2-6. Have announced they're already looking ahead to 2021. Started trading players away. Mongols and Devils tied for first place at 4-4. Here we are again with the Mongols. Everybody's rooting for them. Is that they've been in this position before a few times recently. They can see an opportunity. They've made some big trades that haven't quite worked out. Is this a year the Mongols should be making another big move? The Devils have not had Lamar Jackson producing the way he did last year. It's hard to look at the Devils and think this team's going to run away with it. Can the Beavers even come back at this point? They're only 2 games back. What do you see in this division?
I like the Mongols. I think they got Gronk scoring points now. They've got Chase Edmonds and Dobbins as a running back duo is pretty good right now. Looking pretty good down the stretch, right? Jared Allen's capable of Josh Allen is putting up a lot of points, right? Although he's pulled off a bit. AJ Brown, right? They have AJ Brown.
Buffalo quarterback in the winter gets harder.
I was just going to bring that up. Chief has made this point in years past about getting rid of Tom Brady because of New England winners. If you watch that game this past week and the wins up in Buffalo, you can foresee some of the struggles Josh Allen is going to have some big games down the stretch. They're going to run the ball.
Throw darts,
but he can run the ball.
He can run the ball, but yeah, they're going to
run.
This past week, if I remember, it was Zach Moss got 14 carries, Devin Singletary got 14 carries. Yes, Josh Allen is going to run it, but I can see them handing the ball off to Singletary and Moss 25, 30 times a game.
Yeah. I also think he could throw darts in the snow, and Diggs will get him no problem.
Right, and they also don't play every single game, in Buffalo. So
that win was crazy, though.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
No, I like the Devils. I think the Devils look really good with Lamar Jackson and Connor. Lindsey's starting to get healthy and play a little more. Marry that up with Diggs. Jared Cook has good games. His bench, if Cam Akers does start to get a little bit more all good, it's tough that he lost Kittle. That was a big hit for him. That's the one big hit that I think takes him down a notch because he's a stud, right? So that's whenever you lose a stud, that's going to be a hit. Not easy to replace. But if Cam can come in and start to get some more time on the Rams and that offense, then that could make up for it down the stretch.
Yeah, I also like the Devils, assuming Calvin Ridley's injury is not serious. I think they're the most talented team. I'm not sure how the tiebreakers are working in that division right now because I expect it will be close. But I think even without Kittle, I think the Devils are the best team there. However, if I'm Nick right now, I'm making a trade for another quarterback. I may have been in on Matt Ryan. I might be in on somebody else because you just don't know. Has the league figured out Lamar Jackson?
Mm-hmm.
I think these days of rushing for 110 yards with 3 easy play action touchdowns to Mark Andrews are over. I think teams are not letting him beat them that way. Now, maybe it's not. Maybe it's a short-term hiccup. But it's starting to look like a trend where he's a good quarterback, but he's not a league MVP, fantasy MVP kind of guy. And I think I'd be looking around for another guy just in case this continues. That's my free advice. But regardless, I think they're the most talented team in the division.
I won't disagree with that. It's about Lamar Jackson. If Lamar Jackson becomes who he has been in the years past and NFL MVP style play, Nick's got a great chance to be really dangerous in the playoffs. If Lamar Jackson does not, this team's very pedestrian. So, I think it boils down to that. And sure, get a good backup if you need to, but I think you really got to hope that Lamar Jackson returns to form.
I am here to tip the TFFL off to the Slippery Beavers coming back to win this division. They are
right now.
They are 2-6 right now, but they are up, 35 points already here in week 9. Forgive me, but let's assume they win this game. They get to 3-6. In week 10, they play the Giant Killers.
They'll beat them.
In week 11, they play the Mongols.
They'll beat them.
In week 12, they get the Devils.
Beat them.
You're back to 6-6, and that's probably winning the division at that point, having beaten the Mongols and the Devils along the way. And let me add, this is a team that is getting Christian McCaffrey back right now, and is getting Antonio Brown into their lineup. And if Antonio Brown is as good as some of us think he can be, the Beavers could suddenly be the best team in that division with a very favorable schedule coming up.
Yeah.
Will they start Tua?
They keep Tua?
Right. And that,
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, back there was, based on what we saw in Tua's first week of action, based on the weapons he's got in Miami, there was no way I thought Tua was going to prove himself to be a keeper, in the remaining games of this season. And if he's not going to be my keeper, he's, he doesn't have value to me. So I traded him.
Hence the worst side of the deal for the Beavers again with the Matt Ryan deal. I mean, why? Thornburg.
All right. I'm going to get Rich running back in here because I've got a trivia answer for you.
Okay, give me 1 sec. I'll be right there. I'm just pouring my bourbon.
What's your bourbon, Rich?
It's Widow Jane.
That sounds potent.
I'll bring it over. Hang on, I'll show you.
So I now have lots of trivia questions tied to the updated division title standings. Take a look.
It's very smooth bourbon, Widow Jane.
All right.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorites.
All right. So tonight's question is
pure limestone from New York used in this bourbon. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, Stick.
It's all right.
Let's hear it for limestone.
I have no idea how limestone factors into
Pure limestone mineral water from the legendary Rosedale. I need my glasses.
That means it's a stream that rolled over limestone to create that bourbon.
Exactly.
People have been getting very excited about rocks today. Did you guys see Berto's picture of the field of rocks?
Boulders.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That felt like a little family vacation to me.
That was a Great Lakes.
Hey, kids, you got to see this. You got to see this.
A field of boulders.
So I figured it out. It was the legendary Rosedale mines in New York. That's where the limestone mineral water comes through.
They're definitely legendary.
Legendary.
All right. Enjoy.
What knowledge we're getting here.
All right. Speaking of knowledge, I'm going to tell you the team that has the fewest lifetime division titles.
I'm going to submit mine to the chat because I don't have a pen or paper.
Do it.
I did.
Well, the answer, believe it or not, is the Senators.
What?
Wow.
The Senators are our number one team.
Layup.
That was a good question, Stick.
I knew it would be a tough one because it was a kind of a unexpected answer. So the Senators have 4 lifetime division titles. They are alone in last place in those standings.
Did anybody get that right? No.
Hank, I hate to the Mongols are always close by with these questions. The Mongols have 5 lifetime division titles.
That's what I had.
The K-Wheels are tied with the Mongols, only a game, a title behind the Senators.
That's what I had.
You had me?
With the division with the Impact and the Giant Killers. I don't remember once the K-Wheels winning the division.
That's a good point. I've won a few times, not many.
He's had his heyday.
I won't give away any more, so I can create a couple more trivia questions.
Keep that together.
Rich, if you're ready, why don't you give us our schedule and game of the week to talk about for week?
Yeah, it was funny. I was really going back and forth with the game of the week, sort of bit. But I really feel like the Hams and Fats are going to be a really competitive game that could be pretty meaningful for both to take a step back or a step forward. And
big game.
What's that?
It's a big game.
It's a big game for both of you. So I was looking at that as the game of the week with 2 sort of middle teams that can jockey back and forth. And, there's not a lot of other games that really excite me quite that much. I mean, the Steel City Mongols and Packers could be good. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Mongols pull that out. So that's probably maybe next on my list, followed by, what's going to happen here with the Beavers and K-Wheels. That's an interesting one. I think that the Beavers are favored quite a bit, but you never know. Hank's team is quite capable. What's that?
I was favored coming in. I was favored coming in by like 10
You're
points.
Not favored anymore. Originally,
yes, put up 35 or 28 so
That's
far.
All right. Don't believe those bars. Don't believe those bars. The Killers and Devils could be a pretty good game, so they're up against each other this week as well.
I think the Sponge and Aliens might be the best of the bunch.
And then we have the Sponge Aliens. Look, the Sponge needed maybe a little bit more out of Aaron Jones, but I mean, 80 yards and 4 points isn't too shabby, and the game's not over yet. So we'll see what happens there. There you go. So we got that right. Mongols, Impact, Sponge Aliens, Hams and Fats, Beavers, K-Wheels, Devils, Killers. And then the less interesting one, the Senators, the leading 7-1 Senators against the hapless Lizards. So there you go.
Man, he caught that back third of the ball.
That's our games. And
all right.
Would you agree with me? I think that game of the week is pretty spot on with the Hams. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Hams, losing as we said, Myles Gaskin, for what it's worth, AJ Dillon on the COVID list. So they're a little shorthanded at running back, but they're just plugging in Gus Edwards, who's suddenly getting carries.
Yeah.
The Hams, I think the Hams are looking like a really good team again. Obviously, 5 straight wins. I think
they were always a good team. They had some rough patches at the beginning there. That's all. I mean, schedule. If the stat I saw today, just looking at stuff, if I played the Senators schedule, I'd be 5-3. Right. So says something about his 7-1.
I think the Fats could pull the upset here this week, just with Herbert in Vegas. I think there's definitely a good chance that he could, not get totally crushed by Mahomes. Yeah. Gurley and Taylor are great, and Kelsey's, probably the best tight end in the game right now.
My wide receivers are suspect this week. I got Cooper Kupp and T. Higgins are on bye.
Yeah. Oh, they're on bye. Yeah, so that's
and Taylor's banged up, even though he's practicing. He's banged.
Yeah, you might need to try and get something, free agent or something. I'll trade you Mike Williams or Traquan Smith. Come talk to me.
There you go.
I'm good right now.
I'd trade you somebody, but they're all injured.
Yeah.
Hey, how about we haven't talked about Herbert at all? How about talk about
is it
Joe
Herbert
Burrow and talk about Tua?
It's Herbert.
Herbert because he's so smooth.
I love Herbert. I think he's a stud.
Yeah,
I do too. That was a great pickup, Fats.
I thought he was the best
he's
quarterback
crazy
in
good.
college last year.
Yeah,
he's really good. He's confident. Yep.
How did he not get drafted?
I think he surprised everybody. And
I was going to take the last pick, and I noticed Devontae Freeman was there. I said, I'll take a shot on Devontae. Maybe someone gets hurt, and they sign him, which actually happened, which was a better team. But yeah, Herbert was my plan B at that spot. So I'm a little. I am a little upset about it.
I'm jealous. I like Herbert.
Because he was the 6th pick in the NFL draft, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like he was a second rounder.
Nope.
No, again, Tua was like a round 10 pick or something like that. Herbert didn't get drafted. It's the case I make every year that these guys should be getting drafted and probably much higher.
This is why I didn't like keeping a quarterback this year. It was like pointless. Because you can get I wasn't, I was talking to Berto, right, about like, all right, who projected as people's keepers, and he was like, or draft picks, and he had me, I think, taking Matt Ryan in the second round. I was like, because I didn't have a third rounder, I was like, there's no way I'm taking quarterback. I would take Burrow there. That's about it.
Mm-hmm.
And look at my next picks in the 4th round, and there was just like a million choices there, right? Like a million choices. So
the question with Herbert's going to be: is he a keeper? Is Herbert going to become somebody that he's going to keep? Or
as of right now, he's absolutely a keeper for me.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no question about it.
He looks really good.
Cliff, right?
Yeah.
But I'm really happy with my draft this year. T. Higgins and Rager and those guys. So
you didn't even pick up Higgins on FA or no?
No, I drafted him.
Yeah. Oh, you drafted him.
Good young team.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, I mean, I lost Dak. I'm quite happy to have Tannehill as my backup. I got no problem with that. I think he's actually played really well from that particular. He was. I think I took him somewhere in like late. Like I was the last one to take a quarterback, and there was plenty of guys out there. To Pat's point, like Tannehill was there, and that's a fine backup. So getting Herbert, he's a stud. I'm a big
Unless
fan.
you have a guy like Aaron Rodgers, right? It's like it's pointless to take another quarterback until late in the draft or the first round.
So, right.
Just kidding. Sorry, Bill.
That's exactly right. Get that Matt Ryan right at the start because you got Aaron Rodgers. You need that backup, or you need that starter because Aaron Rodgers isn't any good.
Matt Ryan is a TFFL whipping boy. Always, it's crazy. He's always in the middle of all the TFL controversies, like weird trades and stuff. I feel like anytime someone makes a bad trade or a weird trade, I had Matt Ryan. I think I traded him to Berto one year, and everyone got all bent out of shape.
He was traded as part of a first round pick at one point. He was kept over Russell Wilson a different year.
I think it's because he what's that?
He turns up a lot.
In fact,
I think it's because he's connected to the Boston mob. That's why.
Fats, if I about Matt Ryan trading him to the AMPAC, it has everything to do with the AMPAC, not don't trade with them.
No, I traded him to Berto.
Even worse. That's
right. Exactly.
Don't trade with the killers. We know that. Right?
Exactly.
You watch the regular viewer of the webcast.
So he gave me a second round for him. It was great. I think I drafted Kelsey with that pick. So.
Well, again, Hank's not going to remember this, but Hank got a second rounder from the Aliens for Matt Ryan. So the K-Wheels have had Matt Ryan, the Aliens have had Matt Ryan, the Boba Fatts have had Matt
Ryan. I feel like I had Matt Ryan at one point.
I bet you maybe
I
the
don't
sponge.
remember.
How many teams have not had Matt Ryan?
I have never employed Matt Ryan.
No, you will. You will.
I thought about trading for him. But
so we know the Killers have had him, the Hams have had him, the AMPAC have had him. Yeah, he'll make his way to every team.
Every team has traded a second rounder for him, I think.
Right.
No, Thornburg first.
Fourth, yeah, right.
All right, so yeah, I got off easy then, trading my 10th round pick Tua. All right, hey, that's it. We're going to be in just under an hour. Nice job, everybody. We have not missed a very exciting NFL game. It looks like the Green Bay Packers are running up there.
Can I ask one question before you be ready to set off? We didn't discuss it as a topic, but I found it fascinating that the NFL, I don't know whether it's COVID year or something else, but the trade deadline was pretty lackluster. They're really, I was waiting for something decent to go, and there was nothing. Anyone else surprised by that?
Will Fuller, I think, was the biggest name that was being bandied about.
Yeah, that would have been big if it happened. But I don't think there's too many. I don't think there's usually very many trades, or certainly not
some good ones.
landscape
Michael
ball.
Thomas's name was thrown around early on, and that's why maybe they didn't play him at one point or right after the bye.
Wow.
Interestingly enough, and then what's his name? I'm drawing a blank. Chief, who's the amazing cornerback ex-Bill for the Patriots? I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Oh, Gilmore. Yeah.
Yeah, he was also rumored to potentially get traded because he's in his last year of his contract.
But that was just speculation.
Well, I think it's all speculation. But I was just surprised.
Belichick said nobody called him for Gilmore. He didn't call anybody on Gilmore.
Yeah.
But it's usually depth guys. You get like a linebacker trade or defensive tackle. I don't remember any like superstar players getting traded.
No.
Really, ever in the NFL, but they're not.
Well,
when they are, they're in the offseason.
Right, I guess most of it's in the offseason. I thought the last year's trade deadline had a few big ones. I'm drawing a blank on what they are because I got no memory, but
I don't remember.
We'll look it up. We'll discuss that next time. All right, that's all. Lackluster trade deadline.
There you go.
We'll see how ours goes. Remember, I think it's week 11. I never got a text from Thornburg.
Well, it was. Remember, we moved it back a week about 3 years ago, and it either got moved to the weekend after Thanksgiving, or moved from there to a week after that. It's one of those 2 weeks.
Yeah,
the last weekend in November or the first weekend in December.
I got the rule book right here.
Yeah,
I think it's
as somebody who asks this question every year to our commissioner on the webcast, I'm pretty sure we've locked
I think it's week 11. I honestly think it's after week 11.
I think we've locked it into the week of Thanksgiving, regardless.
12 noon Eastern, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Which is week what? 11, I bet.
Doesn't say that in the rule book.
You might be right as well, Rick.
Everybody's right.
Right on.
So
bring us home, Stick. Bring us home.
As we said, the trading deadline is the day before Thanksgiving.
Which everybody knows.
Yes.
Which everybody should know. Which is not that far away. So keep making trades. Keep practicing safe democracy. And again, I say it every week. Every week is a big week. It's week 9. These games are starting to shape the playoff race. So good luck to everybody. We'll be back here in week 10, deeper into November, heading toward Thanksgiving. Hopefully, with some clarity about our leadership. And
do you want some pure garbage time statistic right now?
Sure.
Packers just had Mason Crosby kick a 52-yard field goal up by 28 points with 6 minutes left.
Why would you do that? That's just
he made it. He made it.
They love running up the score.
So he's got 5 points. 5 points in garbage time for Mason Crosby.
That's just being a dick. Why are you doing that? He
only had 2 points for me last week, so they got to run it up a little bit.
Up 31-3.
6 minutes to go.
6 minutes left.
That's Bush League.
They love running up the score.
Young coach.
They don't apologize for it.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm done.
Well, okay, we're going to still keep it under an hour here. Anyway, good luck to everybody this week. Continue staying safe out there, and we'll be back here in a week to talk about week 9 and start looking ahead to week 10. Good luck and take care.
Go Joe Biden.
Good luck. God bless us, everyone.